Okay, good morning guys. Everyone all right? Yeah, good. I don't want this to be death by PowerPoint, okay? Feel very much free to ask me questions and things like that. So as Paul said, my name is Nick Barwick. I'm a professional motivational speaker. I'm a life performance coach and I'm also a young people's mentor. And I work with young people coming from residential care into foster care. So I'm very much here today to talk to you about my journey of growing up in foster care. Now, I know that you guys work within residential homes, but I think that there's a lot of comparisons that we can make between kids growing up in foster care and kids growing up in residential homes as well. So hopefully some of the challenges and the behaviours that I had with my foster carers, you guys might be able to relate to in some of the challenges that you face with the young people that you work with. Okay, all right. So before we talk about me, I just want to ask you this. What do you do to feel good about yourself? Anyone? How do you feel good about yourself? What do you do?
Buy new clothes.
Buy new clothes. I like that. Any other things? Run. Nice. Any other things?
Care for them.
Say it again.
Care for others.
Care for others. Good one. Any other things?
Drink.
Drink. Well, hey. Well, hey. Not really heard that answer before, but okay. Any other things? Chill with the family. And why do we choose to do all of those things? Why are those our outlets to make ourselves feel good? Yeah, definitely. Everyone needs that outlet. Everyone needs an opportunity to be themselves, to feel good and things like that. Okay, so who can answer these questions though? Who's ever had a bad day? Raise your hand. Yeah? Have we all had a bad day, yeah? Okay. Who's ever thought about giving up? I definitely have. Yeah? Who's ever felt broken, worthless, and like the world is against them? And that's a normal thing to feel. Yeah? Would anyone feel comfortable sharing an example of any of these things? If not, I can share my own. Okay, so I'll tell you about a time where I felt broken, worthless, and like the world was against me. The first time that I ever felt broken was the first day that I began being abused by my abuser. I was 9 years old, okay? You grow up, everything was absolutely fine. Overnight, that all changed. My dad left when I was 9 years old. My mum went through depression. Now, anyone that knows anything about depression, it's a mental illness. You're not in control of what you say, what you do, or even what you don't do. And in my mum's case, it was what she didn't do, okay? My mum wanted someone to come, put their arms around her and say, look, everything's going to be okay. And she wanted someone that was going to be able to help her take care of us boys, because there's 5 of us in total. And one day, this guy came into our lives. He was my mum's second cousin, okay? And it was an opportunity for me to experience what it was like to have an older brother, because I'm the eldest of the 5 boys. And anyone that's ever said that it's the middle child that gets in trouble for everything, you don't know what you're talking about, it's the eldest. Okay, but he came into our lives and then over a short period of time began abusing us, okay? That's where I literally started to feel broken. That's where I started to feel worthless. And the reason I started to feel worthless because he was telling me those things, yeah? Now, who thinks that words are so powerful? Yeah? Words are so powerful, right? Who's ever been insulted in their life? Yeah? The things that I used to get called when I was younger stay with me to this day. I was always the kid that was really big. I was always called fat. When people found out that I was in foster care, people were calling me the kid that didn't have any parents, all of those things. Words are so powerful, it can break young people. And in my case, it broke me for a period of time, okay? The way that he would crush my self-esteem, my self-confidence, things like that. It started off via grooming, okay? I really, really felt like he had a hold on me that wouldn't let go, yeah? So that's where I felt broken, worthless, and like the world is against me, okay? Wow, that's me as a baby, right? There's my mum in the middle and then I've my 2 aunties side by side, okay? Now, I was a really ugly baby, like really ugly. I've got the photo evidence, watch this. Boom, look at that thing. Have you ever seen such a double chin on a baby? But yeah, that's me as a baby. Now, I don't have many baby pictures, And that's not unusual for young people that have grown up in the care system. But this is a picture that I do kind of hold close to my heart because it's my way of really looking back on what I was like when I was a baby. Now this one, my brothers and me. There's 5 of us. So there's me here, Toby in the middle, Corey there, and then my 2 little twin brothers. I was 8, Toby was 7, Corey was 5, and the twins were 1. And I want you to tell me what you notice in this next picture. I call it the changing point. The first thing that you notice. Oh, we have, haven't we? We look like a cage full of gerbils. Yeah, look at that. Yeah? So the first thing you notice is that we've put a bit of weight on. Why do you think this was? Comfort. Yeah. This was smack bang in the middle of our abuse. Who can define for me what neglect is?
When your needs aren't being met, whether that's physical or emotional.
Yeah, absolutely. What are some of the physical needs that aren't met, in terms of neglect? Yeah. We clearly didn't have a lack of food. We had too much of it, okay? And it was very much a comfort eating thing, right? So because this was smack bang in the middle of my abuse, my abuser would withhold food from us, okay? So what we had to do was we'd steal food and we'd hoard it, okay? Because we didn't know when we were going to get fed again. We weren't going to get fed by my mum because she was just completely out of it, okay? My mum was existing, but she was non-existent, if that makes sense, yeah? So we would hoard food and we would gorge on it and things like that. So we had too much food. Can any of you relate to that in terms of any young people that you work with? Hoarding food, eating too much food, all of that. I want you to be aware of the fact that when kids are doing certain things, there's a reason why they're doing it. Do you believe that? There's a reason why they're doing it. Just ponder that. I want to share with you my referral, okay? And what I want you to do is tell me what you notice about it, okay? And whether you feel like you would be able to make a difference to my life, okay? I want you to tell me that. That was me. Oh, bloody hell. I was 13 when I went into foster care. I never quite did lose the weight at that time. Okay, so at the age of 13, this young person is very aggressive, abusive, and manipulative. He is always involved in situations that cause troubles for others. This young person is not attending school and will struggle to achieve academically. This young person will struggle to achieve academically, socially, and will not be able to work with children, young people, or vulnerable adults. This young person will also struggle to have lasting relationships due to his past experiences. As a result of these things, this young person is seen as a threat to others. Tell me what you notice.
There aren't any positives in that.
There aren't any positives. Absolutely, there aren't any positives. Does this sound like a kid? Okay. Where was the fact that I was really into football? Okay. Where was the fact that I was always into acting? Okay. Where was the fact that I loved being around people that I liked, my friends, my family, all of that stuff, Where are the positives? Who thinks that they could have made a difference to my life? Who feels like you would be skilled enough to be able to take me on, work with me? Yeah? Yeah? But what's the most important thing to remember when we're getting these referrals come in about these young people? There's a person there. Yeah? What we probably don't get is a picture. We don't usually get this picture, so we just get all these words. So it's actually really difficult to remember that there's an individual behind those words. Yeah? What I've got a problem with is the fact that there's a lot of prediction going on in here. Yeah? This young person will struggle to achieve academically, socially, and will not be able to work with children, young people, or vulnerable adults. Well, they got all of that wrong. Yeah? Because I do that. I achieved academically. Socially, I'm all right. Okay? but I get to work with children, young people, and vulnerable adults. I work with kids within the care system, and I work with care leavers as well. It's unfair that when we're writing these recordings about young people, that we focus too much on the negative side of things. I'm very much about giving a fair and balanced point of view. So for example, when I read one of the best recordings that I've read about myself from my foster carers is I had this tendency, okay, to use my size against people. I had this tendency to show a lot of aggression, but never physically to my carers. But what I wanted to do was intimidate them, okay? So I would always pull cupboard doors off their hinges and smash them on the floor, okay? And my carers would always document that, right? But they would always give me an opportunity to right my wrong, okay? So when I would pull a cupboard door off its hinge, okay, my carers wouldn't be so quick to react to that, okay? They would just try and diffuse the situation, okay? Because they realized that there was a reason why I was doing what I was doing, okay? So when I read back a recording where they documented that, they said Nick pulled a cupboard door off its hinges, okay, and broke it on the floor, but after 10 minutes, he came and he apologized, yeah? He recognized that he was in the wrong. He then offered to do the washing up. Can you see how there was a negative there, but just a small little positive there where I came down, I apologized, I recognized that I had done wrong, and I offered to put that right, okay? Too many times we focus on the negatives. So when you guys are writing recordings, what do you focus on? The facts, yeah. And sometimes the facts are, there are negatives in there, right? But there's also going to be positives in there. Everyone's capable of change. Everyone is capable of developing, okay? There's this like saying that says, no matter how far down the road you've gone, it's never too late to stop and reinvent yourself. I disagree with the word reinvent, okay? I like to replace that word with develop, okay? We don't need to be trying to change their life, okay? Because if we go in with the expectation of trying to change these young people's lives, we're going to fail, yeah? When I first started out doing mentoring and things like that, I was very much like, I've been in care, I can change all these kids' lives. I soon realized that that wasn't going to be the case, okay? The mindset I then developed is I'm going to go in, I'm going to work with these young people, and I'm going to give them an opportunity to develop themselves. I'm not going to go in and try and change their lives. Yeah, I'm going to go in, I'm going to give them an opportunity to develop, okay, and achieve the potential that they have. It's very hard for our young people to see the potential that they have. It's very, very hard for them because they're clouded by all of the things that are going on in their current lives, okay? They're clouded by all of those different things that is very, very hard for them and quite traumatic to try and see the brightness that their future is going to hold. But they have that. And that needs to be one of our roles as professionals, as working with these young people. We need to try and get beneath that surface and make them realize how much potential they have. One of the young people that I work with, she's over in Wales, okay? She is very suicidal, okay? It's very, very difficult to work with her, okay? It's very, very difficult for her to realize what her potential is. She's 16 years old. She's got mental health issues, okay? Right? I don't go in with the mindset of saying, I'm going to cure your mental health. I'm going to stop you being suicidal. I go in very much to say, look, these are the positive things that are in your life. You've got people that want to take care of you. You've got people that give a damn about you. Because a lot of these kids that we care about, and we do, if we're in this room and we start saying that we don't care about our kids, we may as well just leave now. Because we have to give a damn about these kids for them to give a damn about themselves. Yeah? Someone gave a damn about me, and it made a massive difference. I give a damn about this young person that I work with because I see the potential that she has, and I try and remind her of that, the good things that she has. She has people that love her, that care about her. And I knew that I was getting through to her when I saw a little smile. Yeah? Facial features, facial expressions amongst young people can be so powerful for us as workers, okay? Kids don't need to say things for us to realize that we're making a difference in their lives, yeah? A human thing is that we want like immediate gratification. We want to be thanked for the things that we do, okay? We want to be acknowledged for the good things that we do. But when we're working with these young people, sometimes that is not possible, okay? But just by seeing a little smile, okay? Just by seeing a little smile on this young person's face, I realized that in some small way, I got through to her, okay? And she is now slowly going on. She's progressing. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the reason for that, but I know in some small way, I've made a difference. And that's how you guys need to think about your young people. Do you care about your young people? Be honest, do you care about your young people?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why?
That's what we're caring.
Yeah?
We all see the positive.
Do you see the potential that your young people have?
Yeah.
Regardless of whether they're into offending, all of that stuff, do you still see a bit of potential in these young people? Well, that is the basic start, yeah? We need to see the potential in them to bring it out. Do they see the potential in themselves, some of them? No. And that's really, really difficult, isn't it? Yeah? It's really, really difficult. Okay. I want to share with you my story, okay? And I'm not going to talk for 45 minutes about my story. I've got it in video form. But what I want to quickly do is just tell you a quick summary of the things that I faced, because that's not what the video actually tells you. So for the first 9 years of my life, like I said at the start, things were great, yeah? Things were brilliant. I had a mum, I had a dad. They loved us. I had family. I had my cousins, I had my aunties, I had my uncles. We would meet up for family events and things like that, okay? Everything was great. But then for some reason, at the age of 9, my dad left. He just went up and did one, okay? And that was the changing point in mine and my brother's lives. My mum, as I said at the beginning, went through depression. That led to someone that came into our lives that probably shouldn't have come into our lives, okay? He began to abuse us all. That led to me going into foster care at the age of 13. Within care, I experienced emotional abuse. I experienced emotional abuse from my foster carers. They would often make reference to my weight, and they would, most importantly, criticize my family. That was one of the main reasons why I couldn't emotionally connect to my foster carers, is that when you start to openly criticize a young person's family, that's when you're in dangerous territory. As professionals, I hope and I know that we are taught not to tell a young person what we think about their birth family, whether it's positive or negative, okay? Because they've got their own stuff going on, okay? They've got their own thoughts and feelings about their own birth family. So they don't need outside people judging their family even more. And that was something that my carers did. And that's one of the reasons why, for a period of time, I resented my foster carers, okay? So I experienced a lot of things in care that I shouldn't have experienced. However, my carers were fantastic for promoting my educational needs. Would I be where I am today without my foster carers? Definitely not, okay? Would I have got to the level I've got to without my carers? Definitely not. Would I have got to the level I am at today without outside support from social workers, from support workers? No, okay? I had a great team around me, and that's what I think care is, okay? Care is like, I refer to it as kind of like a team sport, yeah? We all need to work together to get that child, to get that young person to a place where they're going to be able to reach their potential, to a place where they're going to be able to achieve, yeah? To a place where they're going to give a damn about themselves. I work with too many care leavers that have given up. I work with too many care leavers that are still traumatized by the things that they experienced before coming into care and during care. One of my best friends, he had 64 foster placements. 64. But he's not let that hold him back, okay? He's 31 years old now, okay? He's now training to become a social worker, okay? Because he's realized his potential. It's taken him a very long time to get there, okay? But he's realized his potential. He became all of those negative statistics that we hear about young people in care, okay? going to be a part of the criminal justice system, going to take drugs, going to attempt suicide, are going to be homeless. Yeah? They are all the statistics that are out there. Okay? But what he did was something that I've done. I wanted to become a positive statistic. Yeah? Because that's what us as care leavers think that we are. We're just statistics. We're just a figure on a sheet. So we wanted to contribute towards those positive statistics. The 6%, we wanted to become part of the 6% of young people that have been in care that go off to university. Yeah? Now that's a very, very small figure, but we wanted to be a part of that. Because we want to show care leavers, okay, that we're worth something, okay? That we're worth something. And it all comes with how we feel about ourselves. And as workers, what we need to do is show our young people what it's like to value ourselves, okay? Because if we don't value ourselves as role models, which is what we are, yeah? Who doesn't think that you're a role model? I'm glad that no hands went up there, because you are, okay? Because you are role models to these young people. Whether they tell you it, whether they believe it, in some way you're a role model to these young people. So if you're not valuing yourself, if you're saying negative things about yourself, then what are they going to do? They're going to think that that's the normal thing to do, right? Yeah? So like when I was younger and I was being abused, okay, when it started off with grooming, I thought this was the normal thing. I thought at the age of 9, it was okay to have sex. I thought at the age of 9, it was okay to view pornography, all of that. I thought it was becoming a man, because that's what he was telling me, okay? And he was a role model in my life, because he was something that I was craving for. I wanted an older brother, yeah? So I was watching him all the time. The things that he was doing, I thought was normal. So, as professionals, we need to walk in the most positive way that we can every day for these young people. Yeah? Right? Sometimes, if we're too positive, that can be overwhelming for young people. Yeah? Because they've not got to that stage in their life where they can think like that. Okay? But if we're showing young people what it's like to function on a day-to-day basis, that we can be happy, and that can be a good sign. Okay? That we can have a laugh and a joke without it having to turn into a fist fight. Okay? We're leading by example, right? Yeah? So I had all of these people that were role models to me. My biggest role model wasn't my foster carers. My biggest role model wasn't my social worker. My biggest role model at the age of 14 was my boxing coach. Okay? He was my biggest role model. And the reason for that was because he was the first person in my life that didn't care that I was in care. If that makes sense, yeah? He didn't care that I was in care. He told me that if I ever used any of the things that I was being taught outside of that environment, that I would be kicked out of the club, okay? If I ever did something that I shouldn't have done outside of the club, I would be gone, okay? And that was when I was a bit like, whoa, I think he means it this time. Because I was so used to be able to manipulate a situation to benefit myself. Oh, miss, I'm being naughty at school because I'm in care. I'm doing this because I'm in care, yeah? I was very much using that to my advantage all the time. But when this guy told me that he didn't care that I was in care, I was a bit like, whoa, this guy's serious, okay? And he was a massive role model to me. He treated me the way I wanted to be treated. He treated me like everybody else. Because how many young people that live at home with their biological family have children in care reviews? Lack reviews, PEPs, all of that, yeah? So that is when we start to not feel normal, okay? But when he just gave me a taste of what it's like to feel like everyone else, I really wanted that. And he was a massive figure in my life. At the age of 16, he died. And that sent me into a massive downward spiral. At the age of 16, my mum gave birth to my sister. Again, that was a massive backward step to me. My sister was then adopted. One of the hardest things was seeing a picture of my sister and being told I would never be able to see her until the age of 18. What made things worse is she looked exactly like I did as a baby. Yeah? She looked exactly how I did. So already I felt a connection to her, and it was taken away from me. that led to me going through depression. I started to feel as if I was becoming my mum. Yeah? I started to feel as if I was starting to show the things that she was showing when she was going through her depression. Okay? I had to snap out of it. Okay? I wasn't so far gone that I had to have medication. I wasn't so far gone that I couldn't handle it. Okay? But I realized that I needed to sort it out before things got too bad. Before I started to get to the stage where I didn't want to live anymore. Okay? Because I realized at that point that the court-appointed guardian that I had that told me all of these statistics about either going to prison, committing suicide, becoming homeless, or taking drugs was going to come to fruition. Yeah? So I had to really snap out of it. And the way that I did it was by going onto YouTube and watching motivational speakers. Okay? Because they were able to live in such a positive way that I really wanted that. I really wanted that. They were able to open up to thousands of people to say, I've been through this, this, and this in my life. And I'd be like, whoa, that's really bad. But they're here now. Okay? And what I had to do was change the mindset that I had. Okay? The one where I was saying right at the start about, has anyone ever felt broken, worthless, and like the world is against them? I had to change that mindset because I was always going, woe is me. Why is it happening to me? Why am I the only one that's ever been abused? Okay? I had to kind of step out of here and go to here, okay, to say that there are other people out there that have been through the same things, similar things, or maybe even worse things, okay? And that's what I did. I started watching appropriate material about how to move forward with your life. I started watching things on the internet. I started watching things about how we can shift our mindset. And that's something that I try and do with our young people that I work with, okay? To say that you are currently here, but that doesn't mean that you need to be anchored by that, okay? You can take whatever shackles that you feel like you are being dragged down with off, and you can step away from that, okay? We don't need to let our pasts define us. We don't need to let the fact that we were abused. We don't need to let the fact that we may have suffered in some way loss and bereavement, okay? We don't need to let that hold us back. The only thing that we can change is our future. That's the only thing that we have control of, right? And I use the word control, okay? Because what happens to young people when they go into care? They lose control of their life, right? Yeah? But what can they get when they then leave care or as they get older within care? They can get some control back, right? Yeah? And they can make their future as bright or as dark as they want it to be. Okay? A lot of people ask me, what's the worst type of abuse have you ever suffered, Nick? And what do you think it is? Emotional. Yeah? And the reason for that is because the sexual and the physical stuff stopped. But the emotional side of things is with me all the time. Yeah? It's with me all the time. But now I know how to suppress it. Now I know how to make it go away. But when I was younger, that was one of the main reasons why I couldn't attach to people. And because my abuser still had a hold of me. He still had a hold of me. But now I'm in a place where he doesn't have that hold on me anymore. And the reason I've got to where I am today is because I had to forgive my abuser for what he did to me. Yeah? Because forgiveness is such a powerful thing. It's a thing that not a lot of people can do. Okay? But I knew that if I didn't forgive him, then he was always going to have this hold of me. Okay? I didn't physically speak to him, okay? But I wrote him a letter. I never sent him that letter, but I wrote him that letter that had all of my feelings down. The way that he made me feel when I was 9, okay? The way that he made me feel when I was 14. The way that he made me feel when I was 16. And then the way that he made me feel when I was 22. That's when I wrote the letter, 3 years ago. Okay? I never sent that letter. But that was my way of getting all of my feelings out to say, you don't have a hold on me anymore, and I forgive you. I had to do that to be able to move forward with my life, because if I didn't, he would still be in my head now. And would I be where I am today if I was still feeling like that? No. Because when I was younger, I wanted to stab him. When I was younger, I wanted to make him feel the pain that he made me and my brothers feel when we were younger. Okay? But I've let go of that now. And that's something that I share with care leavers. Okay? Now what I've got to be careful about is where I'm sharing that message with care leavers, is I'm not a therapist, okay? I'm not a psychologist. So I can't start saying to them, you need to do that as well, because we're all at different stages in our life, yeah? We're all in different stages in our life. But what we've got to be able to do is not forget, but move on. And some of the care leavers that I work with look at me as if I'm crazy. How can you forgive someone that did that to you? How can you forgive someone that put your family through that? Why don't you want to kill him? I don't want to kill him because I've worked bloody hard to get where I am today. Yeah? And if I was to do that, what would happen? I'd become another negative statistic that was sent off to jail, right? That's what would happen. So what I want to do is just show you this short film that was made by myself and Ryan. It's about 5 minutes long, and it's a film that I share with young people as well, okay?
Happiness, laughter, family. This is what I was used to. But then that all changed when I turned 9. That was when my childhood ended. Rejection, isolation, fear. These were 3 things that I suffered with whilst growing up in care. Coming from a family environment where chaos was the drug of choice. My dad walked out when I was 9, and that was the turning point in my life. A distant relative came into our lives, and that was when violence, anger, and chaos was the norm. Depression took hold of my mum, and my mum never came back the same. Crying, yelping, shouting were constant sounds. But there was a small glimmer of light. Driving down the M5 was a daze. Sign after sign was passing by, and I felt like a volcano ready to erupt. Foster care loomed. Arriving at a big house not on a council estate made me seize up inside and expect that this house was filled with the same chaos as before. Life went by, and I found myself staring out of the window and wanting to cry, and looking up at the sky and asking if this was really the life that I had chose. 10 years on, and I have survived. 10 years on, and I'm still here. 10 years on, and I'm telling you my story. I used the pain I suffered as a child to walk every day in the most positive way that I can. The shadows of my past still haunt me, and the figure that I once thought I'd become is no more. I speak to you now not to feel sorry for me or to think about how brave I am, but I speak to you now to tell you that there is brightness, there is happiness, and there is a future for you. I choose to develop myself every day, whether that be physically, emotionally, or spiritually, because I am grateful for life. I am who I am, and I am proud of what I have faced and what I have overcome. So remember this: no matter what you face, look forward. Embrace your past, but look to tomorrow. You've got the opportunity to control. You've got the opportunity to take control of your life and have a positive future. Nothing is thrown at us that we can't overcome. If your dream is to overcome adversity, then do it. Dreams are only dreams unless you make them a reality. So make your dreams become your reality.
So that is a short film that we put together just to be able to share my story in the most creative way possible for our young people, okay? Pretty much to say that I was here at one point in my life, I'm now over here, okay? What I do is really difficult sometimes, to be up somewhere like here and expose myself, okay? Because I'm making myself vulnerable, okay? I'm making myself vulnerable for criticism, I'm making myself vulnerable for insults, for people to go away and share it with people that they don't need to share it with, okay? But that's okay, right? Because I'm at a point in my life where I'm proud to be who I am. I'm at a point in my life where I'm proud to have gone through the things that I went through. And do you know why? Because I'm a survivor, okay? I survived the things that happened to me when I was a kid, and I survived care, okay? Because a lot of our kids will come to us, a lot of our young people will come to us, and they will have their survival techniques, okay? They will have their survival techniques that will either be aggression, manipulation, silence. There'll be so many forms of survival techniques, but they're doing it because they don't know how else to survive other than using that method. So for me, the only way to survive when I was a young person was to use my fists, okay? Because for 3 years of my life, I had to fight for my life. So when I was in school and I would purposely get into a fight, it's because I loved chaos. It's because I felt safe in that environment. It's because for 3 years of my life, I was taught how to use these against someone that was bigger than me, okay? So I would bring that chaos with me. Not because I wanted to fight someone, not because I wanted to hurt them, it's because I wanted to feel safe. Because when I went into care, okay, I found it really, really funny that as kids, we're told never to talk to strangers. We're just expected to live with them, yeah? Right? So I felt really unsafe. I felt really uncomfortable. So I had to, in some form, bring that chaos with me. So when I was in my foster home, it was about breaking things, okay? My carers, they had this like glass elephant crystal thing that they got for like their 30th wedding anniversary from like India or something like that. And that was the thing that I identified that I was gonna break, okay? Because I wanted to cause chaos. I wanted them to reject me and send me back home, okay? But by breaking that, that was me rejecting them before they could reject me, but I knew what the outcome was going to be, yeah? Because I've already rejected them, they are now going to reject me, and that's going to send me back home, because that's what I thought was going to happen. So I broke that elephant, okay? But they didn't give up on me. They were the only foster carers I had. I was there for 9 years, okay? They were first-time carers as well. They had no experience, yeah? They had no one to compare me to. They looked past all of that information that was in my referral, and they saw a child. They saw an individual. They saw what my needs were, and they saw the potential that I had once I was living with them, once they could see the basic steps of progression that I was making, okay? They made a difference to me, right? And as residential workers, okay, in some way, you're making a difference to these young people, yeah? You all have to work as a team to make a difference to these young people. I can only share with you my experience of growing up in foster care, right? I can't share with you an experience of growing up in a residential home because I wasn't in that situation. But all I can say is that I now take young people from residential homes into foster families, but I get to work with people like yourselves, okay, for a long period of time. I get to see how hard you guys work. I get to see the rubbish that you guys have to put up with, okay? But I get to see the difference that you're making to these young people as well. I love it when a young person tells me, I'm looking forward to going into this foster family, but I'm gonna miss my key worker, yeah? I love hearing that. I will go into this foster placement if you can guarantee that I get to still see my friends back at the home. If you can guarantee that I get to still have a relationship with my key worker. And that's something that we do because we realize how powerful relationships are. We realize how hard they are for young people in care to maintain them. So we're going to promote that. I have the utmost respect for you guys, okay? You have to deal with some really challenging behavior, but well done, keep going. That's not me wanting to sound patronizing or anything like that, but I know how hard it is to work with the young people in the capacity that I work with them in. I can't imagine what it's like for you guys, but just keep remembering what I'm saying to you. You are making a difference to them in some way, okay? If there's anything that has really hit you today about the story that I've shared with you, that the young people that you care for can relate to, maybe feel free to share some of that information with them, okay? Say that you've heard a speaker who's 25 years old now, who was in this rut, okay, but has got to a place in his life where he can accept himself for who he is, okay? Yeah? And I think that will make a difference to these young people. What we need to do is, as I keep saying, is remind the young people of the potential that they had. So my 3 key things for young people growing up in care, if they want to make something of themselves, is hard work, determination, and the right mindset, okay? Because if you can just switch it just a little bit, you're on the course for success. Now, what is success? What is success? Whatever you want it to be. Great answer. Success is whatever you want it to be, right? When we think of success, we think, oh, we need to be a millionaire, we need to have a Lamborghini, we need to have all of these different things. But success for our young people, as it was for me, can be just going to school and not getting in a fight. Going to school and getting a C grade on a maths test. That's success to me, yeah? Success is whatever we want it to be, yeah? For me, I think I've made a small success of myself because I'm achieving the goals that I set out for myself, okay? But I know there's still more to come. What I don't want us to do is put all of this expectation that we have for these young people on them, okay? Because they will crumble with that expectation, okay? We just need to keep taking it like building blocks, 1 block at a time, yeah? 1 block at a time. So just to start finishing off, there is a bright future for us all, okay? Whether we've been through adversity in our lives or not. I'm going to share with you 2 pictures, okay? That is my bright future. This one is just, I put that up there just because I think I look quite good in it. And the second one is my wife and my daughter. My little daughter Daisy has just turned 1 and she's a bundle of joy, right? She is problematic, okay? She causes me a lot of issues. Great issues, by the way, okay? She is the reason why I do what I do, okay? My wife and my daughter are the reasons I do what I do. My wife and my daughter are the reasons why I try and walk in such a positive way every single day. Now, I'm not saying that I don't have my bad days, okay? Because I'm only human. I'm not saying there's not days where I still feel like I want to give up, okay? But I remind myself of what my purpose is in life. I remind myself of the goals that I have for my life. And my main goal is to protect my family from the things that I suffered as a child, okay? But what I'm not gonna do is wrap my daughter up in cotton wool and not let her experience what life is really like. I'm not gonna not let her know that there are kids out there that can't live with their family. I'm not gonna not let her know that there are kids out there that are not as fortunate as her, okay? Because I think if we can have more people that are aware of that, okay, don't have these rose-tinted glasses on to say that all kids are fine, okay? It's only the ones over, overseas that we need to be helping out and things like that. I want her to realize that there are kids in this country that aren't as fortunate as her, okay? So that if she ever does see someone at school that is sat on their own, that looks dirty or whatever, that she won't run away from them, that she won't say that they're weird, that she'll go up to them and she'll embrace them, okay? Because sometimes that's all kids need, is a friend. When I was younger, I didn't have many friends because of how I looked, because of my own insecurities. But one of the friends that I had made a massive difference to my life, okay? And sometimes that's all we need. And I want my daughter to be able to do that for someone else, okay? They're the reasons why I do what I do. Prove your worth, okay? This is a workshop that I run for young people in care. And it's not about proving your worth to other people, it's about proving your worth to yourself. Because if you can prove your worth to yourself, what's going to happen? You're going to value yourself. Your self-esteem is going to go up. Your self-confidence is going to go up. Okay? You just need to value yourself. I want you to take these key things away. Don't let your past define you. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about kids in care here. I'm talking about yourselves. Okay? If you've ever been through adversity in your life, okay, embrace that because you survived it. If you've ever suffered loss and bereavement, embrace that because you've survived it. You're still here. Be a role model for these young people. Okay? Don't ever, if it's necessary and appropriate, don't ever be afraid to share parts of your life with young people. Okay? Because when I was younger, I saw my carers as like these robotic cyborgs that didn't have any emotion, that were just being paid to take care of me. Okay? But when my carer first opened up to me, I saw that there was a person there. I saw that there was a person that has hurt the same as I've hurt in whatever it was. So feel free to share a bit of yourself. Don't go overboard and start burdening off onto them, right? Because they don't need that. But feel free to give some small part of yourself. Show these young people that you are human, that you've had experiences, and you're still here, like I'm doing. Use your pain and experiences to walk in the most positive way you can every day. Be that role model, be that example. Embrace fear, let it be your driving force to achieving greatness. I want you to also remember these two things. Unfortunately, they're not my own quotes, I wish they were. As I look back on my life, I realized that every time I thought I was being rejected from something good, I was actually being redirected to something better. In the end, we only regret the chances that we didn't take. If you've got a chance to make a difference to a young person, take it. Take it. Because you won't regret it, and they won't regret that you took that chance on them. Again, I'm going to reiterate, you are making a difference to these young people. So keep it up, right? Thank you so much for giving me this opportunity to come speak to you today. I hope that you've taken something away from it, and just try and remember my story when, there's young people kicking off, breaking things, pulling cupboard doors off their hinges, okay? That you can see the potential in those young people and say that they're going to go on and do some fantastic things in their lives, but just help them get there, all right? Thanks. Thanks a lot.